Hi everybody, Megan here, the faithful fibromyalgia warrior. I hope you're well. I'm feeling so amazing these days. I'm feeling super strong and energized and I'm doing really well. As you can see in the background, you're catching sort of the back end of my spaniel Bertie next to a suitcase. Yes, he was helping me pack. Tomorrow I'm flying to New York City. I'm going to be meeting my husband there. We are going to be spending a couple weeks together. He has been traveling away for work for the last 2 months, so we're going to actually see each other live and in person for the first time since then, and also celebrate our 26th wedding anniversary, which was actually back on March the 7th. But that isn't necessarily why I decided to make this video. So, in case you're wondering why my hair might be slightly wet, I have decided over the last few days that I just want to let my hair dry more naturally, so I don't have to put as much treatment and serum in my hair after I've used my hair dryer, because it just dries it out and I don't want to do that. But, side point. So, what do I want to talk to you guys about? Well, God is good all the time, and all the time God is good. And it's true. He is. He's amazing. He's incredible. He's inspiring, always. No matter what's going on with my life, whether I'm at an up or a down or in between, God is always there, and I have no doubt He always will be, because He's God. And thank goodness I'm not. But what I wanted to share was something I have been moved to try some new things within the carnivore lifestyle. I have discovered some new channels, some amazing new people who are also Christians, guys, and they have some incredible content out there that I'm going to refer you to and promote to you, because they're great. It's amazing. But really, what I'm super duper excited about, what I'm so thrilled about, truly, is this. So I had watched a couple of videos with Dr. Elizabeth Bright. Okay, if you guys don't know who she is, you should check her out. She is incredible. She talks all about the importance of fat for our hormones, especially as men and women need the right levels of hormones, but particularly women, because we go through that much more of a change, whether it's going into puberty, whether it then becomes pregnancy and motherhood, or whether it's the end phases of all of that and that becomes menopause. And I'm 51, I'll be 52 this year. And so for me, heading into menopause, I know my body's getting ready, my cycles are much more spread out, much more irregular, they don't happen monthly as they once did, so my body's getting itself ready for that phase of life. And so I was very interested in what she had to share, as she's been through that herself. And she not only talked about the key value of eating high-fat carnivore, that is, but also making sure that we are not iodine deficient. And I didn't understand what that was about. I thought, I add salt to taste. I'm sure I'm fine. We don't have fluoride in the water here in the UK, so I'm sure I'm okay. But what I didn't realize is that isn't enough, because there's enough bromide and fluoride and other ways that get into the food supply system, and the soils of the world are becoming very iodine deficient. And iodine and sodium from salt are critical to help the thyroid function. And the thyroid controls all of the other key organs that produce the hormones, like the pancreas and the ovaries and the uterus, and it affects things like metabolism. It affects, say, the production of good healthy cells for hair and teeth and nails, right? It helps keep our skin healthy. It builds new skin cells. Sorry, I've got a mentally insane greyhound out in the back. So, and apparently Birdie's excited too. That was the mailman delivering our post. Go figure. But that if we don't have enough iodine, our bodies cannot produce the right levels of thyroid hormones, which then affect all these other glands. It's a hormone that kind of manages all the glandular functions of the body, the adrenals, the pancreas, as I say, uterus, ovaries, and then of course levels of things like testosterone, etc. Right? And so after I watched, now she was in an interview with Bella from SteakandButterGal, sorry, and she spoke about the importance of these things. She was also interviewed by Rina from 5 Minute Body. Great video, excellent content. And it struck me. She said, what helped me the most was she was referring to what is thyroid dysfunction? Hypothyroid, and then within that is a subset called hyperthyroid. But the point being, if you're making too much thyroid hormone or not enough, your thyroid is not functioning as it should. And I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism back in March of 2020, and I was put on levothyroxine to produce more T4. The problem was, although I was producing more T4, my body was not converting it properly. It still wasn't converting enough of it into the T3, which is what is then used to trigger all these other hormones in the body for things like digestion and metabolism, energy. So although those levels changed and became more normalized after I came off the thyroid medication, I couldn't figure out why. Why is my skin so patchy? Why is it so bumpy and red? And you can see here it's still a little bit, but since I've been taking iodine drops for just almost a week, it's almost completely cleared up. And it's not the iodine per se, it's the iodine and the salt I've been taking in with my diet, with my carnivore diet, that is actually healing my thyroid so it functions not just normally, but optimally. Okay? And what she helped me to understand was that the ranges, both for GPs here in the UK and for most GPs in the world, if they're not functional medicine specialists, they have a very wide range of what they consider to be the low end or the high end of what's deemed normal, whereas in fact it should be much narrower. Okay. At one point, my T4 levels were so low as they were deemed abnormally low, and that's when they started to finally put me on levothyroxine to produce more T4. But as I say, the issue was I was on that for 3 years, and to be honest, well, not quite 3 years. Sorry. Oh yeah, actually about 3 years. And I was still having major bloating and constipation, so IBS symptoms. I was having a lot of digestive discomfort and difficulty, even though I was eating meat, even though it was healing to some degree. I would often feel bloated right after, and it would take a very long time for my system to digest and metabolize meats and proteins and fats, the way versus what it should have been doing. And again, because I was making more T4, but my body wasn't converting it effectively. So, there are some people where maybe they're not producing a lot, but what they're producing is being converted quite quickly. For me, it was kind of like the opposite was happening. So, carnivore helped normalize my levels to some degree, and I was still on the medication. But I realized even the difference between taking it and not taking it made no difference as to how I felt, how well I could digest food, how long it would take. Sorry, guys. Here. It's called Dogus interruptus. And so I was struggling with that even though I was eating all the right things from a carnivore standpoint. I was still struggling with IBS symptoms. They were reduced, but they weren't gone. And a big part of that was because, as I came to realize, my thyroid, which again, your thyroid controls things like metabolism and digestion, which includes things like bowel movements and how well you absorb the food and function and put it through the gut, and then it goes from there. And it was improved, but it wasn't optimal. And I came to understand that, wow, I was still having thyroid dysfunction. And as Dr. Bright pointed out, women who have, if you have skin issues, like not just the occasional pimple, but I'm talking like I thought it was oxalate dumping or some sort of weird rash reaction. No, rosacea, psoriasis, eczema are closely associated with thyroid dysfunction. I was still having hair loss and breakage, not nearly as bad as it once was, but it was still there. My toenails were healing, but they were still not awesome. They still hadn't fully healed. And what I came to understand was that I had this sudden aha moment. Wait a second. I'm still walking a lot of miles. I'll do a big continuous walk 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, typically I'll go and I'll do resistance training at the gym. And then Sunday's my off day. And other than walking the dogs, which is for a couple of miles, I take it easy, give my body a chance to recover. And so I was still doing that, but I was constantly feeling absolutely wiped and exhausted mid-afternoon. And I was trying to cut back on caffeine, and I was following good sleep habits and practicing good circadian rhythms. You know, I would always eat dinner between 5 and 5:30. By 6:30, I would usually have my blue blockers on. I would start to shut off the bright overhead lights. I would just put on a lamp in the living room, and it would sort of get my body ready to wind down and go to sleep at a decent time. And then I was usually up around 7, but I would wake up constantly exhausted and having to have that coffee after my breakfast every morning. I had to. And I thought, this will never change. And when I realized, no, if I'm still feeling exhausted, if this rash has suddenly appeared and gotten really, really bad, and rosacea or just irritated skin, whatever it is, whatever was causing it, I realized it was because my thyroid was still not functioning at optimal levels. So they were at improved levels. They were at considered normal levels. But why not just try taking iodine? I already was adding a bit more salt. You know, I put a bit of salt in my decafs every once in a while, just to keep the sodium going, try to get me regular. What a game changer when I started within the first couple of days. This skin irritation already saw improvement. I had energy levels like never before. I was waking up, so I took a few drops the first day. Didn't necessarily notice anything right away, other than instead of going 4 or 5 days between bowel movements, I had a bowel movement that day. Sorry, don't mean to be crude, but that's kind of important because finally the stuff that had been building up in my gut was starting to get pushed out, starting to clear. I realized that the bromide that was in my system and the fluoride that got in my system through sometimes through the food consumed or the coffee drink that I might drink or whatever, was getting flushed out. Toxins were finally getting pushed out of my body that had been stuck in my gut, that had been stuck in my adipose tissue, my body fat tissue around my midsection. How do I know this? Because without trying, my weight went from 127 pounds a week ago to 124. That's 3 pounds in 1 week. I didn't try to do anything different, but I could feel myself having less headaches, getting all the toxic crap out of my system that had been stored there. And yesterday, oh my goodness, it was magical. I had my breakfast, a portion of bacon lardons. If you don't know what that is, it's just basically thick, chunky bacon pre-chopped into little pieces. And I fried that up, and then I beat some eggs like you would for an omelet, poured that over top, and then kind of scooped it all together. I had that. Had my decaf, my morning coffee with about a 1/4 teaspoon of the iodine. Spent some time just reading in God's Word, praying, meditating, just feeling inspired. And within 40 minutes, I had such a burst of energy. I had to get up, get on my walking gear, so my sports leggings and my base layers and, my trainers, my running shoes, get all my gear on, got the dogs ready, took them out for their, 2-mile walk. And then I carried on. I did 7.5 miles continuously. And I've gone a bit further before, but I actually had so much energy. I didn't feel like I was dragging. I didn't have cramping muscles. I didn't have aches and pains. In fact, honestly, other than I had some other stuff planned, so I had to be back by a certain time, I probably could have walked 10 miles and not even really felt it. Other than, I could tell my feet were getting sweaty in my sports socks and my shoes. But outside of that, I felt amazing. I just wanted to keep going and going and going. And I've not felt that, I don't think, ever. Got home, showered, changed clothes, got dressed for the day, got ready for the day. And again, I had so much energy that I wanted to do even more. I couldn't wait to get out. I couldn't wait to continue exercising and moving and doing things. And I didn't feel any cramping or pain. I did not have mid-afternoon exhaustion at all. I had some more iodine later in the day, so I'm trying to do about a 1/2 teaspoon a day, which is 2.5 milliliters, which is, I think, 330 milligrams, which is way more than is recommended. However, I watched a video that Dr. Ken Berry had out recently about the importance of iodine with Dr. I think it's Brownstein is his name. I'll make reference to it. Actually, I'll link that video. I'll put that video up at the end of this one, just because it's such a great video. It's so important to watch, I think, about iodine and why it's necessary. But like I said, my skin issues are almost completely gone. And all I did, I didn't work out less. I don't put any skin cream on. I don't use any makeup or chemicals on my face. All I did was, for this past week, I've been taking iodine drops, Lugel's iodine solution drops, which is 5% iodine. That's it. And it has been transformative. And I wanted to share this because things come into our lives for a purpose, I believe. God does everything for a reason. He helped me to, it just happened to be, I don't always watch the videos all the time from YouTube. I go through phases where it's cool, it maybe doesn't apply to me, so I won't necessarily watch, but I still get notifications. And when I saw these videos come up with Dr. Elizabeth Bright about high-fat carnivore, about the absolute necessity of taking iodine drops, for thyroid health and other hormone health. And then this video that Dr. Berry did not too long ago on the importance of iodine. That was absolutely from God. Because I was continuing to wonder to myself, I was stumbling a bit, like, I'm still having bloating, I'm still having these issues, I'm still constipated, so not as badly as I once was. Let me be clear, it has improved dramatically since being carnivore, now 3.5 years, but it was still there to some degree. And so there would be some days where I would be so uncomfortable, like all of a sudden my clothes would feel snug because of my bloating, because maybe I had too much coffee, or I ate a meal and it was higher fat like I'm supposed to, but I'm having a hard time digesting it because my thyroid is not functioning at optimum levels. Normal levels, yes. Am I technically do I technically have hypothyroidism still? Not according to medical professionals here. Okay, my T4 levels are at a level that they consider normal, so they wouldn't call me hypothyroid, but I was still dealing with thyroid dysfunction. I can figure how am I going to ever solve this? I don't want to suffer. Maybe I'm supposed to live with this like this forever. I don't know, but it does suck. How am I going to fix that? Well, thank you so much for Dr. Berry. Thank you so much for Dr. Brownstein. Thank you so much for Dr. Elizabeth Bright and Bella who's SteakandButterGal. Thank you for all these videos, for helping me realize, oh my gosh, there's a solution. And it's not some crazy, wild, out there, radical solution that is just weird or it's going to cost a fortune. It's very simply adding iodine drops to my diet and enough salt to go with it in order to promote thyroid function that is optimal, and therefore all of those other glands that are managed by the thyroid are also functioning not just normally or okay, but they're functioning optimally. When I go to eat food now, I enjoy it because it gets digested very easily, metabolized fairly quickly, and I don't feel like I have food sitting in my gut for several days, which is amazing. I thought, that'll never go away, and yet it has. So, if you are not yet taking an iodine drop daily or multiple drops daily, if you are like me and you're suffering with skin issues, with slow metabolism, with digestive disorder or dysfunction, and you're carnivore, right? Because for me, I had to first become carnivore and clean up my diet, and then these are the tweaks now. Now that I've gotten to my kind of healthy, stable weight, these are the little tweaks to just continue improving my health and my healing. I would suggest, because most of the soil of this world is iodine depleted or severely deficient, you're not getting a lot. You're not going to be able to get iodine through, if you eat plants, it's not going to come through the plants because iodine is not in the soil. And it's not going to be in any meat you eat because the animals that eat those plants, again, if it's not in the soil and in the plants, the animals that eat those plants are also not getting iodine. The one exception could be if you eat a lot of fish. I hate fish. It's gross to me. I don't do well with it. Don't like it, so I don't eat it. Fine. If you eat fish and seafood, then you might be okay. But there's so many added chemicals in this world that it's not going to hurt you to take an iodine supplement. I would definitely check out these other videos, check out these other people, because their videos are very informative. But also, not just that, they can give you an idea as to maybe how much you should be looking at taking on a daily basis, right? I'm not a doctor. I'm not a health professional. I'm not going to tell you, oh, take as much as I do. I have thyroid dysfunction, which also affects my digestive and metabolism, my digestive tract, and my metabolism and my ability to absorb nutrients effectively. Therefore, I need to take more than somebody who has sufficient iodine to start with. Okay, but if you are struggling with thyroid dysfunction, then iodine can absolutely be a life-saving help. And it's amazing because this stuff you can find it on Amazon fairly cheap. Seriously, get it from Amazon very cheaply, and is life-changing. If you are nourishing your body correctly to begin with. If you're still going to be eating cakes and cookies and, takeaway meals and lots of breads and pastas and processed stuff, then it probably won't make any difference because you're still loading your body with inflammatory foods. But if you are or have cut out sugars and inflammatory foods and seed oils, and you've cleaned up your diet, and you are predominantly eating meat and eggs and some butter, you're set to go. I hope this is helpful. I can't believe how quickly this has been helping me. I thought maybe it'll take months. Like, again, this is just a week, and there's a little bit of redness there. It's not going to be completely gone that fast. I understand that because I've had years of thyroid dysfunction, right? Years of being iodine and sodium deficient. So it's going to take the body time, but to see improvement within the first few days, astounding. And God's designed our bodies in such an amazing way that if we give it the things it needs for optimal functioning, we can heal almost anything, which is incredible. I mean, how amazing is that? God is incredible. Let's face it, God is amazing anyways, but it's just, wow, it's so great. I just wanted to share that video with you guys. I may or may not be uploading videos. Like I said, I'm flying to New York City tomorrow. Haven't been there since 2007. Going to be meeting up with my husband to have some time together because we've been apart from each other for a couple of months now. So that's going to be amazing. And we're also going to be visiting some family in Toronto, in Canada, and then we're spending a week in New Orleans, which I cannot wait. I've never been. I'm super excited. So I will be traveling for almost a month, but I will certainly upload and update videos as I can whenever I get that chance. Oh, there we go. Birdie's in this passed out, tired position once again. Apparently, he worked hard barking at the mailman and guarding my suitcase. Tough life. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are doing super well. The other thing I really want to suggest and recommend to you guys is there's an amazing website to go to. It's called Healing Humanity. And it is put together with Homesteadhow, is the YouTube handle, as well as Carnivore Today. These guys are both Christians, faithful men, who are not only sharing their own healing journey through their faith in God and going carnivore, but they are in the process of getting their own funding, so crowdfunding, to do a documentary showing the benefits and healing of following a carnivore diet. And they have some really great content. They've interviewed some incredible people from the carnivore space. So if you have the chance, check out their videos. Both of them, both their channels are fantastic. The people that they interview and speak with have overcome some massive obstacles themselves, and they are all about trying to help heal this world through a proper human diet, which includes animal sources of protein and fat, as God intended, and doing it from a perspective of being faithful men of God. And that to me is so inspiring. So I really hope you guys will check out their channels. Well worth it, I promise you. Thank you all so much for your support and your love and your encouragement. I will be back with you guys soon, and I will absolutely be posting more content as soon as I can, but it might be a little while. All the best, guys. I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.